We're here in New Orleans for Sunbelt Media Day. This is day 2 of the sessions. West Division was yesterday. East Division is today, and that includes App State. So we're hanging out here. I'm Adam Witten, head coach Shawn Clark. All right, man, we're recording this maybe about a couple hours into your day so far. Give us a little bit of taste of what some of the conversations have been like to this point.
Well, it's been great. We had a great trip down here last night and had a chance to have a great meal. We all went to Redfish. And,
oh, my goodness.
Fantastic dinner with enough oysters. And what else we have?
Well, there were about 4 dozen oysters total for the table. We had but I can never say this correctly. Boudin balls. Boudin balls.
We had buffalo shrimp. Some other kind of shrimp, and then
you and I got the same thing. We had a shrimp Creole.
Shrimp, fantastic.
I'd never seen it with like the entire shrimp that's sitting in the bowl. Like it's everything.
Man, you're in New Orleans.
It's not shrimp tails. It's the entire shrimp.
Then we had a bowl of gumbo. So a fantastic meal, and got a good night's rest. And it's been great here today. It's the Sunbelt puts on a fantastic media day here, and again, we're early mornings of it. I think I've done 7 or 8 interviews, and of course, what's the over/under on the quarterback question?
I would have put the over/under at 10 or 11, but I think it's going to hit the over based on what you've experienced within just the first 2 hours of the day.
It will definitely hit the over. It's I've done 8 interviews. That's the first thing you want to know. And it's not coach talk. I try to be honest as I can. And that's going to be a battle. It started back in spring practice. It's been through summer workouts, and now it's going to go through fall camp. But, we have 3 really good quarterbacks. All 3 bring something different to the table.
Yeah.
And, Ryan Berger and Joey Aguilar and Mace McHugh, all 3 great kids, all can play at this level.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun to watch through fall camp, and we hope to name a quarterback the week of the Gardner-Webb game. So,
you were. I was wondering if you were going to give us the inside scoop on that.
On the plane ride home.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. We won't live stream that. I promise. Okay. So Isaiah Helms and Nick Ross. Just before we recorded this, we had a chance to visit with those 2 young men, so you can find that conversation as well. But tell us about those 2 guys who have been senior leaders. Isaiah Helms originally transferred from Western Carolina, but now he's into a veteran leadership role, having played here a few years already. And Nick Ross was just a true freshman the last time that we played in New Orleans in 2019 for that bowl game. So tell us about those 2 and how they've matured to become leaders of this program now and being able to represent App State here at this event.
Well, you hit it on the head right there. The 2 great representations of our university, our program, of doing things the right way. Isaiah has been here 3 years now and kind of, made his way or worked his way into a leadership role. And we were talking on the plane last night. It's hard to believe Nick Ross has been here since 2019.
Isn't that crazy?
And the first thing that comes to my mind with Nick is the South Carolina game.
My gosh, yes.
And I remember like yesterday, it's when you says North and South Carolina victories. So, just 2 great representations. They worked their tails off in the classroom, on the football field, and that's what you want. You want those kind of guys in your program, because if you have those kind of kids, you have a chance to be successful year in, year out.
Yeah. I asked them this question as well, but what's the message that you're trying to get across to people? That there's a lot of people here that are trying to learn about all the various teams in the conference, and so when they ask questions to you, you'll face a lot more of them after this conversation as they try to learn about 2023 App State football. What are you trying to tell them about the identity of what you hope this team will be?
Well, the first thing is it's not a rebuild, it's not a reload, it's a reset.
Yeah.
And we have enough players in our program to be successful, have a winning season, compete for a conference championship, and that's what I'm excited about. We brought in, of our 32 signees, 17 are transfers, so it's not a young football team, it's a new football team, and we want to get some depth and some height and some length in our program because our conference has changed. I mean, you look back when we were here in 2016, it was App State and Louisiana Lafayette. Those are the 2 teams in the Sun Belt for 4 years in a row. We played those teams. Right. We played that game. Each played 8 games in 4 years.
Yeah.
And now it's. I give a lot of credit to Commissioner Gill and the athletic directors that we are the best non-autonomy conference in the country. Yeah. There's not a question about it. And the way we've done things with regional rivalries to enhance our stadium and fan base experience. I mean, this is the 2nd year in a row we've sold out season tickets. And this will be the 2nd year in a row we set a new single-season attendance record at The Rock.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm excited about our football team. A lot of people aren't talking about us right now, and that's a good thing sometimes. Since I've been since 16, and we've always had a target on our chest.
Yeah.
And we've always been picked to win, and we had a lot of preseason all-conference players on that list, and now we're not. And it's going to be fun to see how our guys react to that. Are they going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, come to work every single day like they have in the past, or what's going to happen? But I have a lot of confidence in our guys right now, and I think we're going to surprise a lot of people in 23.
Yeah. The questions will come about a lot of the new coaches and the scheme and implementing that when fall camp arrives, but probably the coach who's the most valuable this time of year is your strength coach, Matt Greenhall. And I enjoyed talking to Isaiah at dinner last night about what exactly a day working with Matt Greenhall is like. It seems like it's really having a huge benefit on this team right now.
It is, and it's what we need at the right time, and that's tough. The leader, when you're in a leadership role, you have to make tough decisions that affect people negatively sometimes, and that's not always good. But I always talk about, man, I'm always going to do what I think is right for the program. And we brought Matt in. I've known Matt since 2016, and what he brings to us from a physical standpoint is every day. And there's one standard, and that is the standard. Yeah. And if you're not ready to come in and compete in the weight room and do the right things, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I'm tickled to death to have Matt and his family here, where they're going to welcome their second child during football season. I told them that's the week of Marshall, so she has to either have on Thursday, Friday, or Sunday. We already talked to her about that. She got to labor early. So. But like I said, man, we're excited to have him here. He's made an immediate impact. Our players love to be in the weight room. It's that unique, fine line that our players can't stand him when they're in the weight room, and then when it's all over, they're all back in the weight room talking to him. And that's what you want in a strength coach.
It's amazing, because Isaiah was talking about how difficult it is and just how gassed they are. He's talking about like pushing 200-pound sleds, and he had to do 8 reps of it, and he after 4 they were all gassed. And so I know it's just torture for these guys, but he says, but I love it. But I love it, But
that's Isaiah for you, though.
Well, yeah.
No, it's and that's what you have to be successful. Yeah. It's really the work you put in the off. No one sees the work these kids put in the off season to give them a chance to be successful during the season. This kid, it starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then it goes through. Then we have our OTAs. We have they have their own workouts. Their 7-on-7s, throwing the quarterback. Their film study they do on their own, and they're putting a lot of work into it. And I hope that work comes to fruition this year.
Yeah. Okay, so fall camp is going to get started, and we'll have a lot more content to talk about this year's team. But you get a lot of questions about the quarterback position. I want to ask you about the position that you know so well from your playing days and your assistant coaching days, and that's offensive line. That's also a very key spot for this year's team, no?
No, that is the key spot.
Yeah.
If you have an offensive line, you have a chance to win a football game.
Yeah.
So,
but you lost 2 great tackles in Cooper Hodges and Anderson Hardy, so I know the tackle position is an area of focus.
It is. We've had a long run of successful linemen here in our program that went on to play at the next level, and this past year was no different. When you have Anderson Hardy, he's a free agent to the Kansas City Chiefs. Cooper is a draft pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then, the one thing about App is everyone comes to get our coaches. When you have a successful program, we have a lot of turnover, especially at that position. And it's not because they're leaving because they want to leave. It's they're leaving because they're going to change their life financially. Nick Cardwell goes to the University of Louisville. Now he's the offensive line coach at Cincinnati. You have Jeep Wade, who came from Georgia Southern, who was here for 8 months, and now he's at Georgia Tech. Yep. And we had a chance to bring in Mike Cummings, and I'm tickled to death with Mike Cummings. We have a lot of things in common. He's an old-school throwback offensive line coach that is really going to coach his kids hard but love them harder. Yeah. And I think our kids have really bought into that. They like being around Mike a lot. We returned 3 starters from last year, and we have some young tackles that are coming in that have really gotten stronger through Matt in the weight room, and that's exciting. We built some depth through the transfer portal. Yeah, and guys who come in and compete for starting spots, and it's been fun to watch. But that's a position I'm excited to see play. Yeah, because I know they're going to have a great year this year.
Yeah, on the defensive side, I asked this to Nick specifically, but you mentioned that there's not a lot of preseason all-conference selections. You weren't picked to win the East Division. That was JMU this year, but I asked Nick specifically, I said, hey, no defensive players on the preseason all-conference team. There were 2 on the offensive line and then Milan Tucker on special teams. If you're yourself or a player or Scott Sloan, defensive coordinator, you kind of like rubbing your hands together like, okay, all right, here we go.
It is. So when that came out, I kind of nicknamed myself, told the defense, this is the no-name defense. And I like that. And I know Coach Sloan and the staff has done a fantastic job. They really worked their tails off, getting their installs ready to go. They have a great plan. But, again, to have that chip on your shoulder, no-name defense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And again, we have a lot of great players. The only problem, no one knows who they are.
Right.
We have of our signees, 32 of our signees. We signed 32 this past year. 17 were transfers. And again, that was a big emphasis on the defensive side of the ball to give us some depth. You look at Tyreek Funderburk, kid came from Richmond. Who's going to make an immediate impact at corner. At the safety of Jalik Thomas, that you can go on and on and on. And then, big Mike Fletcher from Michigan State, Sean Collins from Rutgers. And we've added a kid from Tiffin College here in the last couple of days. And to go along with that, we have some Andrew Parker at linebacker who's been here for a year. Ethan Johnson, that no one talks about Ethan Johnson, who played a lot of football last year, didn't go through spring practice because of injury, didn't go through spring practice, but I expect him to have a big year. It's not that I hope, I expect him to have a big year. He's the kind of player that can have an immediate impact as well. Yeah,
it may be a no-name defense to folks around the conference, but our fans know them, and people in the conference will start to know them here before too long. So, all right, as we close things up, you've got another series of interviews coming up. I think I have a feeling you're going to get a few more quarterback questions. It's just a hunch, but I'm just how much does an event like this just get you charged up to know that? I know that you value the time to recharge, and especially during July, you get a chance to spend time with family and get away and get yourself really at full battery for fall camp. But being here in this and talking to other coaches and players and being around it, how does this get you kind of into the right mindset to get ready and get this thing rolling? Well,
it got you out of vacation mode for sure.
Yeah.
And when you're on vacation, you finally get a chance to unwind a little bit. And we were down at the lake for a couple 10 or 15 days at the lake, kind of relaxed a little bit. Then through my daughter's volleyball, my son's baseball, there wasn't much of a break. But in saying that, this really sets the tone. Yeah. It's here. Yeah. So you better embrace it while you're here. It's going to be a miserable season. So and we're excited about it against all these great coaches in our conference. Again, I can't talk about our conference enough.
Yeah.
We've established we are the best non-autonomy conference in the country.
Yeah.
And we have great players in our conference, and it's going to be a great season for App State.
Best and most interesting, too, because of the regional rivalry component and just playing games that matter, the games that the fan bases care about. I mean, that goes back to me, that goes back to the core of what college football is all about.
It is. And again, it's the second year in a row we saw our season tickets.
Yeah.
Thank you, App Nation, for buying your tickets. And then, we're going to set another record for attendance at the Rock this year.
Yeah.
And that's big. I mean, what other conference, what other team in our conference can say that?
No, I mean, we every year App State leads the Sun Belt in home attendance by far.
Yeah, and we're not in a big city,
right?
And that no one shows up to a game. We're in the mountains of North Carolina where you have to travel 2 hours to get there. And again, that's what separates us in our state is to know that listen, our fans love App State football. And they're there at the Rock to show us the support every year. Yeah,
I know you've had a beignet before, right?
I have. I need to try one.
Well, I gave Nick and Isaiah some to try. So I don't know if you want to try them now or if you want to take them with you, but straight from Cafe Du Monde. I've got a couple bags. I promised I would bring some home to my family. So
I got to try a bite here.
Yeah, there you go. There's 3 in there.
My daughter's probably watching this right now.
The key, as I told the players, is you got to be careful not to get the powdered sugar on your nice black suit here.
Listen, I have a lot of talents, and one is eating. So this is easy.
There you go. Nothing to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Adam.
Looking forward to it, my man.
Thanks, but appreciate it.
All right.